news and bad news today for the residents of Mayflower, Arkansas. All right, the good news is that Exxon announced they're developing an official plan to evacuate an oil pipeline that ruptured underneath a Mayflower subdivision on Friday. The bad news is that this is how residents of that subdivision spent their Easter weekend.
So that is a pipeline that is busted and is flooded the neighborhood and is going all the way to the drain at the end of the street. Luckily, our house is here, which is seemingly unaffected, but the smell is unbelievable. I mean, look. Incredible, and that is oil.
That is oil. More precisely, that is heavy crude oil from the tar sands of Canada spewing out onto the lawns and sidewalks and the streets and past the basketball hoops of the Northwoods subdivision. That video was shot by Drew Barnes, a homeowner from the area. Hat tip. The 20-inch ExxonMobil pipeline carrying the crude, which was installed in the late 1940s, burst on Friday. Almost 24 homes in the area have been evacuated while the cleanup gets underway. The EPA has classified it as a major spill. ExxonMobil has not yet said how much oil is estimated to have spilled, only that as of this evening, they've cleaned up 12,000 barrels of oil and water. In local news coverage of the spill, it was common to hear evacuated residents say they did not even know they lived essentially on top of a 60-year-old oil pipeline. And of course, in the cable news business, the true measure of any oil spill is a degree of heartbreak spread by images of its avian victims. These obligatory photos of oil-covered fowl come from the Hawk Center in Arkansas. Most of these birds had been bathed at least once before these pictures were taken. Just 2 days before the big suburban spill in Arkansas, a train derailed in western Minnesota, spilling 15,000 gallons of crude into a rural Minnesota field. We don't know for sure whether that was also tar sands oil, but we do know that it came from Alberta, which at this point is probably as famous for its tar sands as for anything else. As for the pipeline that ruptured in Arkansas, that pipeline used to carry crude oil from Texas up north to Illinois. But in 2006, because there was so much heavy crude oil coming out of Canada, Exxon reversed it. So now it flows north to south, bringing dirtier, harder to clean up crude oil through the middle of the country. As America is projected to become the Western Hemisphere's hub for fossil fuel extraction, with some oil analysts even predicting that we'll surpass Saudi Arabia in oil output by 2020, we have a new dystopic vision of what our future life among our own fossil fuels might look like. This could be your subdivision soon, unless we do something differently. The amount of fossil fuel extraction we're doing now and the amount we're set to do, particularly if the 1,200-mile Keystone XL pipeline is ultimately approved, means that whether it's fracking in your backyard or a pipeline that's going to run underneath your subdivision, this is the future of fossil fuel America, unless we decide collectively to choose another future.